Welcome to yet another webcast of 4 Questions. And today we are chatting to Mike Jones, who has a varied and interesting background. From 18 years in the military to leadership development in sports teams to acting as a strategic business advisor to organizations. Mike is now the director of LBI Consulting, which provides strategic business consulting. Mike, you know yourself best. Please do tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into our 4 questions.
Oh, thank you. Obviously, great introduction. Yeah, Mike Jones. I'm an organisational psychologist, and as you heard in the introduction, I wasn't always a psychologist. I was a soldier, and it's really the experience that I had in the military, especially on operations, which led me to really understand the value of leadership, understand leadership's at the centre of everything, and then that spurred me when I left the army to set up a business and to really get involved in organisations. So I've got a great passion for all things strategy and leadership, and thank you for inviting me on. It's what I love talking about.
Absolutely. The military, I'm almost a little bit nervous. I'm very excited to pick your brain. And yeah, I think, sure, it feels like you would be someone good to play a chess game with, in terms of strategy.
I don't know. My girlfriend would beg to differ about my chess skills, but yeah. Backgammon, okay. I'll be there all day.
Let's dive into it. So question 1 goes like this, Mike. According to you, what do you define as strategic alignment?
Good point. Strategic alignment really is the integration of your components of your business so that they're all aligned to enable you to win at your strategy. So it's looking at your organisation holistically. And once you understand your purpose and your strategy, it's the best way to make choices to design your organisation so that all cylinders are pointing to or firing towards enabling you and your organisation to win at your strategy.
I mean, do you find that people prioritize things like strategic alignment, or is it just seen as a nice to have?
I think it's unknown. You'll find a lot. There's terminologies that get overused and misused, and I think alignment is one of those words, along with agile and all those. I could go on about these words, but what tends to happen is that people look at these things in isolation, and that's where the drama comes. So they understand that they need to do this stuff, but they get so lost in the here and now, the short term, the BAU, business as usual. They miss what's happening in the rest of the organisation. They lose sight of the future, and then they lose sight of the different components and how they're designed, how they're integrated, so they're mutually supporting to support them. It's almost seen as we've got our vision, everything will fall into place. But it's a bit more, and it's something that needs to be consistently looked at and reviewed.
Absolutely. Just a little bit more complex then. Hey, there's the vision. It's all going to fall into place, yeah?
Yeah, a lot more.
Good gracious. All right, so question 2, why is strategic alignment important in business?
I really do think it's one of the most vital things for organisations to look at, not just because that's my world I'm in and of that, but really, we always say, and there's a lot of research around this, that the higher performing organisations are the most aligned organisations. And the research normally says about like 80% of the difference of performance between two companies can be explained by the lack of alignment. And we're really, as organisations, we're in a business of minimising risk and trying to increase performance. You'll start to increase vast amounts of risk if you don't look at your organisation holistically and just assume that just because you've done a day on culture, that is all going to be sorted. How do you know that? And when you do it in isolation, how do you know that culture or your leadership principles or your capabilities are all supporting you to achieve your purpose and strategy?
Absolutely. So question 3, Is the concept around strategic alignment exclusive to the organizational context or not?
No, strategic alignment is for any organization, any size, any industry. It's for all. It's even if you're a startup, to go, I think startup is a great way to start and do that. But if you're looking beyond organizations on business, strategic alignment, the principles will serve you well in life. I think we all look very short term. I think we're a very short term animal, and in society at the moment, I think we're becoming even more short term. I think that using the principles of strategic alignment to really understand what am I trying to win at in life? What really am I trying to do and be good at? What is my purpose? Understanding those two fundamental questions then can anchor everything else in your life. So you got that. Then you look at, okay, so if I want to achieve those, what must be true? What capabilities do I need? What type of style or lifestyle I need, which is where you're looking at relations between culture and your lifestyle. And then also what are those financial management systems that I need in my life to enable me to achieve my own goals. So it is based around organizations, but the principles can work very much in life as well.
And tell me, did you apply these principles in the military and in the sports arena?
In the military, we definitely did. There's a lot of stuff that, because I joined as a soldier, a young 17-year-old soldier, I joined them. A lot of the stuff that they were talking about, I didn't understand. I just done what I was told, and that was it. But it's more, yeah, it's always like, as I grew up in the army, and I went through the ranks, got more involved in this stuff. And I realised all this stuff is what the army is exceptionally good at on operations. We are meticulous around, and that's where strategy comes from. Really, it's from the military. It's very much how do we position ourselves so that we can have maximum competitive advantage over our enemy. And that's really the same mindset that you need in organisations, except for maybe we do say don't go for zero-sum competition anymore because everyone's a loser. But it's really about having those very integrated choices around where can we best position ourselves so we can have maximum value. And then it's about, okay, how do we prepare our forces so that when we need to execute our strategy, we can do it to the minimum of fuss and to execute as best as we can.
Yeah. Right, our final question for the day, question 4. Is strategic alignment the only factor that may increase business performance?
No, it's the factor that brings it all together.
Okay.
Yeah. So strategic alignment is really about understanding all those different performance drivers, and as we'd say in the army, get the bayonets pointing in the right direction. And that's what it is. So strategic alignment is that holistic view, those questions that you ask yourself to make sure all those different key performance drivers. So for instance, if you think about performance, there's obviously capability is a key one. So you must always, how well does our capabilities support the implementation of our strategy?
Just define for us capabilities, your interpretation. I mean, is that skills? Is that behaviors? Is that a combination of both?
I think what it is about what enables you to win in what you're trying to do. So for instance, if you're looking at someone like Apple, the capability is really around innovation. So they have to have the innovation to do it. If you're looking at the moment right now with a lot of supermarket stores, stuff, a key capability they need to work on is logistics and supply chains. It's about, do we have the capability to get our stuff to where it needs to be? It's really about, once you understand what you're trying to win at, what segment you're trying to work at, how to best reach them, it then makes it clear about what capabilities do you need. So it could be anything from supply chain management, innovation to efficiency, those sort of things around capability.
Excellent, thank you.
That's right. Yeah, but if you look at other performance drivers, we all talk about leadership. We all talk about all the important stuff like trust is all important and all this stuff. But take, for instance, leadership as a separate part. leadership is quite contextual. So how you need to, and we can go on to what is leadership. That's a vast thing. No one ever knows. But I think even down to defining what type of leader that you need to execute your strategy. So the mindset and the approach that a leader that is based on the strategy around efficiency is going to be different to the leader that you'd need for one that's comfortable around innovation. So even though we know leadership is key to performance, but even in nuance in that way, you can't deduct it down that way in strategic alignment. It's really about, okay, what type of leader do we really need to ensure that we can execute our strategy?
And when we're talking about leader, are we talking about one person, or are we talking about
a collective leaders? Yeah, leaders. And I really think we should get into that point in organisations to set some principles around leadership, because it's so vast. It's so it's open for interpretation. Like what you think is a good leader compared to what I think is a good leader may be different. And what I'm not advocating is that we stovepipe people into a certain thing, but I think we should really sort of set the context of how we want our leaders to be focused.
Yeah. Oh man, Mike Jones, so insightful. I could speak to you for hours. In fact, maybe we will after this.
Yeah.
But that's what we have time for, is our 4 questions. But thank you so much for just your knowledge and imparting your expertise around strategic alignment. And I look forward to having a conversation with you again on 4 questions.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Mike Jones, who is the director of LBI Consulting. Cheers.